not state trooper, not to the ground.
Images of John Lewis, beaten and bloodied at Selma, had shocked the nation. Americans were witnessing history. Lewis was shaping it.
On this bridge, some of us gave a little blood.
He carried his historic struggle for racial equality to the halls of Congress, where it ended Friday. John Lewis, dead at 80, after a months-long battle with cancer. As a young civil rights leader, he organized sit-ins at lunch counters and was a freedom rider on the front lines of the blood-drenched battle to end Jim Crow laws.
The men who organized the rally walked with springing steps toward the speaker's stand.
Lewis, 23 years old at the time, was the youngest speaker at the 1963 March on Washington, where Martin Luther King Jr. stood on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial and declared,
I have a dream.
It had been Lewis's words and passion that got the crowd going.
And I said to myself, this is it.
We do not want our freedom gradually, but we want to be free now.
2 years later, Lewis led one of the most famous marches in American history in Selma. On the Edmund Pettus Bridge, Lewis, the embodiment of nonviolence, beaten senseless by heavily armed police.
All across Alabama and Mississippi and other states of the South struggled, fought, and died for the right to vote.
It would be remembered as Bloody Sunday, an event that galvanized support for the Voting Rights Act. Lewis never stopped fighting for disadvantaged people everywhere, taking his relentless pursuit for justice from protest to politics. During his decades in Washington, he was often called the conscience of the Congress.
John Lewis, first of all, represents so much to our nation and world as a change maker. John Lewis, as Dad inspired him, inspires me and millions of people around our world.
Global protests against police killings of black people, a continuation of Lewis's life work, more than half a century after the March on Washington.
We cannot give up. We cannot give out. We cannot give in. We must get out there and push and pull.
Lewis, who'd earned bipartisan respect in Washington, continued to get into what he called good trouble, saying he'd been arrested 40 times in the 60s and 5 more as a congressman. His last public appearance, fittingly, at Black Lives Matter Plaza.
We are one people, we are one family, we are one house, we all live in the same house.
For City News, I'm Caryn Ceolin.